being a traditional receiver and all this, and then we see you right there, you run the route, and you get a nice catch and stride and get the touchdown. How'd that feel?
It felt great, just doing what I've been talking about all season and all fall camp. It's kind of been there. We have had opportunities like that. We just felt like we've been missing them, but Grant threw a great ball. Finally got it in there.
Obviously, Matt goes out. You're kind of the next guy to take over that number one spot. How much pressure are you going to put on yourself, or what kind of expectations have you put on yourself to try to kind of pick up the pace a little bit with him being out?
I mean, honestly, I don't even really put more pressure on myself because I feel like every week I go out there and play. Like I want to be the number one receiver anyway. But it's more of me just encouraging the young guys and trying to get them to step up to play better, so they fill in the spots where we don't have.
What have you seen from Thomas and some of those guys, Troy stepping up, on the other side of the field?
I think Troy's been great. He's been making plays there on third downs. Thomas, the ball's in the air, he's been making plays every time. J-Mac has even been doing really good. So I think as a whole, the receiving corps is doing really good right now.
What did you see in that fourth down, couple fourth downs, long third downs in that 17-play drive? Why was the offense able to move it down in such a methodical way and finally score?
It was just execution of what we've been doing all week. I think we executed everything well. Especially the fourth down call past to Jake Rowe. I mean, it was 4th and 1, and we got 15 yards out of it. So I just think it came down to execution.
What does a drive like that do for the confidence of your offense? Because 17 plays, 7+ minutes when the game's on the line, that's got to be a boost, right?
Yeah, Coach Harsin kind of talked to us this week about our 4-minute offense because the last week against Nevada we weren't able to set it up with just offense, being able to stay on the field. So that was something we wanted to do, and I felt like that was kind of one of those situations where we needed to stay on the field, take some time out, and for the defense, give them some rest, and I feel like we did that just like he wanted to.
Hey Shane, we've seen a couple of these videos on Twitter and stuff, you guys celebrating in the locker room after the game and jumping up and down and throwing water and all kinds of stuff. What's it like after these wins and you guys celebrating, and do you think maybe there's a little more celebrating of the wins going on than compared to maybe years past here?
Yes, maybe in the locker room, but I feel like it's still the 24-hour deal. You got 24 hours to celebrate the win. But I just feel like with the youth of this team, with the coaching staff and the team as a whole, I feel like we just get really excited in the locker room, and I think we deserve it.
Coach Harsin was saying he's told you guys to you guys work hard all week, celebrate this win here in the locker room with your teammates, and look forward to that, I guess, when you come back in here after the game. Is that a different maybe mindset or mentality based on last year or years past?
Yeah. The one main thing he does harp on all the time is winning, and so when we do it, he wants us to celebrate and enjoy that time. And then so after that 24 hours is up, we on to the next team. But when we get to that locker room, as you see, we're different creatures in there.
The guy doing the nay-nay, was that one of the trainers, or what were your thoughts on that?
That was our strength coach, one of our strength coaches.
How'd you grade the performance?
I would have to give him an A. I think he had really good form with that.
Coach Harsin said he hadn't even heard of the dance. He needed to ask someone. You guys didn't try to get him out there, or?
No, we didn't. I don't even know. I think Coach Harsin might have left the locker room during that time. But it was great though. I think it was even better than Nevada win.
What are the jealousy issues like in the receiver room with the quarterback getting to catch all these touchdown passes, man?
There is none. I feel like we all get the ball just like equal amount of time. I feel like Troy had, I think, 2 or 3 catches. I had, I think, 2 or 3 catches. Spurback had 2 or 3 catches. Like, we all get about the same amount of touches. It's just trying to get in the end zone after that.
How are you different maybe in the receiver meeting room now that Matt's gone? I mean, you talked about now, you're the lead vet out there.
Well, that's just comes in being the vocal leader. And even when Matt was here, he wasn't more of a vocal guy, but, when it was his time to talk, he did and let us know. And I'm just trying to follow his footsteps.
Shane, I think you alluded to it, but just, the patience involved in trying, waiting to get those downfield catches. And I know you said you didn't quite have the chance to get them, in the last couple of games, but to finally break it and to do it in the way that you guys did on that sort of pass and have it be a touchdown. What did that mean for you? Just to show the patience that you had to go through.
I just feel like Grant's trust with us in the receiver room is he's gaining trust in us because I don't think if we could do that play 10 more times, I don't know if he'd have threw that ball because he anticipated the pass. So I think he's just gaining trust in us because we're making plays when the ball's in the air. So that's good. And that's what we've been wanting to do all year.
When Harsin said you guys practiced that play, but how tight was that window that you threw that through?
It was really close. It was right over the linebacker, and as you saw, it was right in front of the safety. So I think it was a great ball by Grant. And he actually could have even thrown it to somebody else who was on the field, and they were way more open than I was. But he trusted me, so I really appreciate it.
Is that because you were going to get in the end zone on that play?
I don't know. I think he was worried just about the first down. He wasn't even thinking about the end zone.
Yeah. What about for you? 3 straight games with a touchdown now.
I think it just comes from when you get in there, then it just starts rolling. It's just hard to get that first one usually.
And let's go back last year to BYU. What do you remember about them, and what makes their defense tough?
Same things this year. They're really physical and they're really big. So I think we're going to have to use our speed to our advantage.
You had that 49-yard run too on the end around. You got the corner there. I mean, how's that? I know you like catching passes too, but is it nice when you get a chance to turn the corner and get in some open space there?
Yeah, anytime I can get an open run, I'll take it.
Is it crazy how successful those runs have been for you guys this year? I mean, it seems like every time you dial it up, you get about, at least that's 49, but you usually get at least like 10 or something.
It always goes back to Jay. They're stacking the box trying to get Jay, and then so you pop one outside. So, like I said, at the beginning of the year, if Jay's rolling, then we're all good.
What impresses you most, or what do you enjoy most about Dante being on this team and what he brings to the table for you guys?
Me and Dante kind of look at each other like I'm the offense version of him because he wants to play offense, and sometimes I want to go out there and play DB. So it's just kind of like we see ourselves. We're in the same position. We're the smallest guys on the field, and we feel like we have to make the most plays.
Is that just, you mentioned that kind of mentality that you try to play bigger than yourselves,
Yeah.
and it seems like he tries to do that too.
That's exactly how we are. That's our mentality all the way.
So I guess two-part question, but at first, when you're on offense and he's on defense in practice, can he lock you down, or do you get open, or how's that battle go?
It's tough. It goes back and forth. Let's go with that.
Now, what if he was lined up at receiver and you were trying to cover him?
We did that a couple times in the summer. People do that. We switch roles sometimes. He got a little bit working on his receiver. He needs to work on it a little bit.
You mentioned kind of sometimes the energy in this program and stuff like that. It seems you mentioned he's the defensive version of you and vice versa. You guys just kind of have this kind of mentality where you're always just kind of happy out there, and it seems like there's a lot of joy out there. Why is it important for you guys to have that?
Well, when you're playing this game, you got to have fun. I mean, I think that goes back to the basics too. Like, you can't go out there and be upset and stuff while you're playing. You got to just be having fun. We love to do this, so we're having fun all the time.
I know that you said that you don't necessarily feel like added pressure with Matt being out or anything necessarily like that, but how important is it to maybe embrace being that number one guy? And I'm not even necessarily meaning the number one read, but just being the guy in that receiving room because you have so much experience.
I mean, I always want to lead by example, so I always want to get in the end zone, and I feel like if I'm doing that and showing them, because that's something every week. One of our goals in the receiver room is to get in the end zone, and so I feel like if I just keep getting in every week, other guys jump on board, they'll start getting in every week, and so I think Thomas kind of popped his cherry with his little touchdown pass, so hopefully he can get another one this week.
Going back to that touchdown catch, did you feel like you were going to get decked going across the middle like that with somebody?
I did think I was going to get hit. That's why I kind of dove in, but Grant threw the ball a little sooner than I thought, so I was able to still get in.
Speaking of our friend Thomas, what's impressed you most about what he's been able to do, stepping into a bigger role, and also, being like you, a kind of versatile guy out there too?
Honestly, the way he's been able to also do what he does in practice in the games, making those catches, he does that all the time in practice, and I think he's done a good job of rolling over to the games. So just having good weeks of practice, and it's been rolling over to the games.
Finally, just with the ground game, how important is it that you guys continue to just eat away at that thing? And it seems like in the fourth quarter, eventually, just kind of popped over the last 2 games.
If the ground game keeps going, then their pass game gets opened up, and then when they take out the pass game, and the ground game keeps going. So I think if we just keep rolling like we've been doing, we'll be fine.